Population Day, and we're focusing on food production in our country and on the continent, of course. South Africa faces an impending food security crisis if action is not taken to urgently improve production. That's according to a report by the Worldwide Fund for Nature. The report found that South Africa would have to produce 50% more food to feed an increased population within 30 years. For more on this, I'm joined in studio by Francesco Pierit, the UN's Food and Agriculture from the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization. Francesco, thank you so much for joining me. When we look at this report, 50% more food needs to be produced by 2050. The population at that point would be plus minus 73 million people. Should we be alarmed at all? Is this report saying we are in crisis?
No, we shouldn't be alarmed. Look, at the population grows, production and productivity also has to grow. This is a trend in relation between agriculture and population. These figures also are FAO figures. We expect an increase in population, so we do expect increase in production. But South Africa is a food secure country from a national point of view. It's a net food exporter. Now we have serious caveats when it comes to not availability of food, but when it comes to access to food. Which is a question very much linked to not availability again, but to poverty, inequality, and unemployment. So
South Africa is producing enough food. The problem is a lot of people in South Africa cannot afford that food, don't have access to that food, is what you're saying.
This is one of the main problems. I would say three problems. This is the main problem because you have in South Africa approximately 25% of the population below the food poverty line, which is the lowest line. And according to the household survey of 2017, you have approximately, again, 7 million food insecure people, and severely food insecure, and 11 million with inadequate access to food. So this is a social dimension of food access, which is the very big problem of South Africa, along us with problem related to environmental consequences of industrial agriculture and also nutrition dimension of agriculture, also very much present in the food system of South Africa.
When we look at the environmental issue, where's the damage coming from in terms of the environment? Is this mainly from your large-scale, your commercial farmers, or maybe from your small-scale farmers who don't have trouble with inputs and so forth?
Well, what we call industrial agriculture. Not only agriculture, let's say the industrial food systems, which are the dominant food systems, they are very intensive in the use of fossil fuels in any part of the different value chains, in production, in processing, in transport, so on and so forth. And this is about industrial agriculture. There is an issue of also in the production of fertilizer as well. So that's produce an effect, which is the fact that agriculture value chains better are one of the main contributors to the emission of greenhouse gases. So we have to really be able to produce a transition in food systems, a transition in the way we either produce and consume foods towards more agroecological-based, family farming-based production systems.
Let's look at Africa, even and include South Africa as well, because we went through a severe drought. This El Nino factor is really becoming a huge problem when it comes to Africa. Should we be worried when it comes to climate change as well?
Of course, yes. This we have to be worried of, because climate change is a reality. Nobody can really contest the dimension of climate change, which implies in the more recurrency and volatility of extreme events like drought. And Southern Africa is a region which is very much affected by extreme events, especially droughts. Tomorrow we are going to issue the 2019 State of Food and Security in the world, the FAO and other UN agency. We're going to have the new figures with regard to South Africa. Last year report told us that the situation of Africa was worsening, including Southern Africa. Out of 821 million people that were insecure in terms of food in the world, 236 were in sub-Saharan Africa, and a portion of it in Southern Africa. So tomorrow we're going to see the new figures, but probably they're not going to be that better.
Yeah. Are African leaders doing enough to mitigate against the effects of climate change?
There is a serious commitment with regard to the transition to new agricultural systems, not only in Africa, but in all the world, because everybody have really realized that the way we are, again, producing and consuming food is not sustainable. So we are now in a good political momentum because of the UN have declared the decade on nutrition and decade on family farming. So this is a momentum of convergence among politicians, investors, business, civil society, the farmers, and also the media for advocating for a substantial change in the way in food systems.
When you look at Africa, one of the big things, of course, is always the lack of employment and jobs, so forth, and the agriculture industry can absorb a lot of unemployed people. You're shaking your head as I speak about this. Do our leaders understand this? Are they aware of this, and are they doing enough to upscale the small-scale farmers so they can employ more?
Okay, if you look at the situation in Southern Africa, but especially in South Africa, you have a problem which is not only related to agriculture. It's a problem of the lack of absorption of unemployment by the part of the entire economy, because it's a very capital-intensive economy. Including the food systems prevalent in South Africa is capital-intensive. So this means that you have an exceeding population which is not absorbed by the increase of, even when you have increasing growth. But the food system can be transformed for be more inclusive, also from economic point of view, through expanding the base of producers and adopting a model which is prevalent on family farms. So we have to change the way we do business, and I think the government of South Africa, starting from the State of the Nation address of President Ramaphosa, is going to hit these dimensions.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Francisco Pieri, from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. You're saying nothing to worry about. South Africa is food secure, and in the next 30 or so years, everything should be fine.
We have to worry about the distribution of food and the access to food. This is very worrisome.
That's the biggest problem.
That is
Access
very worrisome, yes.
100%. Thank you so much.